And today we're taking a look at Watch Dogs Legion, and I'm just going to go through some of the benefits of having the ray tracing effects enabled. Just to quickly just give you an outline of what that actually means in real terms. Here's a good little example, and I'm in a decent area to showcase that. So for example, if you look through this reflection, you can see that everything is in real time. There's my character moving about. You can see the cars in the background, the billboards moving in real time, and the lighting in real time. Everything as you would expect in real life. Now if we go into the options and turn that off, you'll see a marked difference in terms of what you can see in the reflections. So now we've got just like a pre-baked reflection of a street. It may not even match the actual street. There's no real-time reflection of my character, as you can see now. It's just a pre-baked reflection into the side of the building as a kind of underlying sort of texture with lighting. So there's no detailing. There's no cars. There's no pedestrians. And that's the basic effect of having real-time reflections. So you might say, well, during gameplay, that's not really important. You're not really going to notice that, but you do actually notice it a lot. And there was one moment whilst I was playing with ray tracing enabled, I was looking at something in the distance, and I came up against a reflective surface, and I was kind of casing something out at the time, and I noticed somebody creeping up behind me through the reflection, which is pretty impressive. Now, had that been these baked non-ray trace reflections, I would have been collared by that. So let's go and switch those back on again, and I'll show you a few more areas where it really does make a massive difference in terms of the immersion and the realism of the area. I mean, London is famous for its weather, and the rain obviously it leaves these puddles, which again you can see the reflections in real time, to the point where you probably look up a character's skirt, for example, if that's what you wanted to do. But yeah, real-time reflections really give it some excellent atmosphere. I mean, some people have said that that's perhaps too reflective and it's almost off-putting unrealistically. I think in some areas that might be the case, but generally speaking, I think it's pretty good. And I'm going to call this area the kind of the ray tracing area, because it's absolutely really demonstrates it exceptionally well here, especially in this little corridors at King's College. You can see the lighting now, see the people, and it all looks pretty fantastic. Even that in the background, you can see that all in real time. So this is why it takes a lot of processing for this to sort of render these images twice, pretty much. But you're getting all the lighting as well. You know, that's also a massive thing. And again, every puddle, every surface has got this kind of reflection quality to it. I mean, even this cab here, let me just pull up this cab. Look at the cab, look at the lighting on the cab, reflecting on the bonnet. You can see the lighting from the lights above, reflecting in the bonnet. So it just gives it a completely fresh look. Let me just pull up this cab anyway. Come back here. No, he's off. There's another one here. They're driverless cars. And it just gives you a good example. So when you're driving as well now, let's drive past this lighting here. You can see the guy with the fire there showing up on the bonnet. And then you've got all these lights. All in real time as well, which is fantastic. So it really does add a lot to the game in terms of the visual quality and the realism of it that you just don't get with pre-baked textures that you will see on reflective surfaces. I mean, even on this brickwork here, look, or stonework here, marble stonework, you get that kind of nice reflective quality. It's pretty fantastic that we can sort of render this now in real time. And again, back to the reflective mirrors, where you see everything in the mirrors. So I mean, that just adds to the immersion generally. And as I say, it does have a gameplay effect as well, where you can sort of use that to your advantage even, especially if you're not using the radar to spot where people are coming from. So obviously not all surfaces are reflective. This solid sort of stonework here will not be reflective in real life, so why should it be in the game? And then again here, a nice reflective surface which really highlights the quality of ray traced reflections, real-time reflections, which is fantastic. Right, so I'm going to quickly go to another area, a bit more of a seedy part of town. Unfortunately, I can't force the game to rain, but obviously when it rains, it pours, and you get some really wonderful effects from the lighting and the puddles. This sort of distortion in the puddles of the light as the rain hits the ground. It's just fantastic, but unfortunately I can't force that to rain. So here again, you're getting few puddles here. Yeah, I'm taking you to the best parts of town. I think this is just really fantastic example of how it just really makes it feel a lot more realistic. You've got those real-time reflections in the ground, in the puddles, on the surfaces as you walk past. It's just really cool and just looks really great. And then look, I'll do it again. I'll turn it off. We'll walk back through that same alleyway, and let's see what the differences are. Who are you doing? Right, yeah, good for you. Now obviously there's a massive hit on the processing to have these, but I'm using the DLSS to mitigate that, and I am using a high quality GPU as well. But so we'll walk through the same manner. So you still get that same, but look how different that is now. It's kind of, it's pre-baked. So whilst it looks similar, look at the way it's just disappeared completely as you've moved along. And then look at the reflective surfaces in the glass. They're not even indicative of what's there. Look, that sex shop sign does not even show in the glass here. So whilst it's got its own kind of similarity, all of that is pre-baked. And then again, we'll look at the black cab, and it's got pre-baked lighting from that alleyway. But nowhere near as nice looking. So obviously I think it's definitely the future, and with DLSS sort of mitigating some of the amount of GPU processing required and CPU processing required to run it. And then again, you've got it now reflecting off. Look at the way it's off the bonnet side of the car.
This place stirs up old memories.
Really awesome looking. I remember when we was dipping it up and down here, you wouldn't see it, it would disappear, but now it stays completely. And just a lot more immersive. And you can see that in the puddles there. Lorry going past in the puddle. Pretty good stuff. It's a shame I can't make it rain, as I've said before. Maybe it will. But when you get that rain as well, it just really hammers it home how wonderful it looks compared to the, and there's even the headlight of the car reflecting on the surface there, which is pretty good. So yeah, I mean, if this is the future of of gaming with this kind of level of quality of reflections, then it's looking good. As if they can get it down to work with less processing requirement so that more people can benefit from this. I mean, I remember buying the RTX 2080 Ti a couple of years ago when it first came out, specifically so I could be one of the first to try out the ray tracing in games like Battlefield. I think it's Battlefield 4. I think that was the first game, one of the first games to have it, and Tomb Raider was another one. And at the time, it was just really chugging those GPUs. You couldn't. I think people joked, "Oh, it's running at 1080p. What's the point if you can only play it at 1080p?" But since then, they've improved it and they've, made it a lot more accessible to people. And even Xbox Series X now is running at 4K with ray traced effects enabled. I'm not sure what level of quality those ray traced effects are on Xbox Series X, but the fact that they managed to doing that at 4K is pretty impressive. And it just gives the world environment a lot more character and a lot more colour, and just generally looks much better. I think you can't argue against that in terms of the pre-baked reflections that you see. Like I said, you're seeing it in every single reflective surface as well. That's the other thing that's just so fantastic about it. And I think Watch Dogs Legion is a great game to showcase that, far more than Battlefield was back in the day. I remember sort of specifically trying to hunt for reflective surfaces in that game, and it was a challenge to do so just because of the type of game it was. But it was early days, and it was just kind of like a demo at that point in time. But now this is a real showcase of what it can do, and it's highly impressive stuff. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. This is good looking at it. I mean, I've spent a lot of time wandering around the streets of London, just admiring the effects, looking at the people. You kind of feel like you're in the world a lot more than you would normally. And obviously, London's very diverse in terms of its streets and its architecture. I live in London, so that's also another benefit for me. But I just love the whole vibe this game is giving in terms of its looks. Not sure what's going on with these two here. Oh, taking the D's in the West End. But yeah, I mean, this is wonderful stuff. And again, Cyberpunk 2077 will also feature ray traced effects as well, and I'm sure that with all its lighting will look equally as fantastic as this one. As we move out from Leicester Square, you can see it's getting daylight now. Well, that's actually a good thing as well, to show that even during the day you'll still get those same wonderful reflections, slightly different hue with the daylight. But it's all there, night or day, which is pretty cool. Alright, I'm going to leave it at this now. I've said that already. I mean it this time. Look, you see that reflection of the bus stop in the puddle. It's just really cool stuff. It's just very simple. It's something you wouldn't think about, but when you look at it back to back with the old style pre-baked stuff, which is just really there for effect, but when you actually study it and look at it at closer detail, you realise it's just pre-baked and it's awful, and there's no comparison really. So yeah, let's just hope developers can lower the requirements even further so that more games can benefit from it. Just amazing. All right, I'm Rob Cram. Thanks for watching. This is Ray Traced Watch Dogs Legion on PC, running at ultra settings, 4K, with DLSS running at performance mode. Thanks for watching.